Welcome to the Pit Check, your weekly news for the best and heaviest new albums from your favorite extreme metal and hardcore bands. This week is absurdly heavy. Like, if you love brutally heavy death metal, deathcore, grindcore, slam, or beatdown hardcore, this might be the best week of the entire year for new albums. Seriously, I thought twice already we had deathcore album of the year just locked up, but I swear I think it's been topped again. So like always, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into this week's reviews for the best and heaviest new albums. 2025 might be the best year in deathcore history. The disgustingly heavy Myspace deathcore band Psycho Frame has released this genuine masterpiece of a new album titled Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother. Oh my god. If you love 2000s deathcore revival, slam, or beatdown hardcore, this is an album you need to listen to as soon as humanly possible. Obviously, the Myspace and throwback deathcore revival has been extremely hot this year, with bands like Reverent, Mauled, and Thus Spoke Zarathustra carrying the torch for that glorious 2007 chaotic and guttural sound. But now, Big Daddy Psycho Frame is here to pick up the crown. To avoid just sitting here for an hour geeking out about how nasty and gritty this band is, I mean, it's pretty obvious the second you listen to it, how insane these guitars are, how technical and skilled this drummer is, and vocals that'll summon a demon. I'm just gonna leave this review by saying, this release is not just a contender for album of the year, this is legitimately one of the best deathcore albums of the past decade. And to anyone who loves absolutely filthy music, you are doing yourself a genuine disservice if you skip this one. I'm not saying everyone in the world everywhere is gonna think it's perfect, but you need to at least hear it for yourself. Need some ungodly, chaotic beatdown hardcore? The death metal, grindcore, power violence, and hardcore crossover band SCALP has released this insane new album titled Not Worthy of Human Compassion. If you love high energy, mathy, brutal death metal that sounds like you're on the verge of having a mental breakdown, this band is going to be right up your alley. I also love how angry this album is. It genuinely sounds like this band is mad at you. With this album being 13 songs long but only running 18 minutes, it's like this band wants you to get the f*** out of their way as soon as possible. In that way, they kind of remind me of Nails, but with like beatdown hardcore breakdowns. That kind of band where it sounds crazy and chaotic at first glance, before you realize how technical and masterfully written every little thing is. Definitely give this one a shot. What if Twin Peaks was a death metal band? The progressive and technical death metal band Cryptodira is back with their latest EP titled Genesis of Error. I love how this band manages to fuse these prog and tech death and even hardcore elements into a surprisingly groovy and psychedelic sound. Even though this release is only 3 songs, it runs for about 15 minutes, with the closing track being 9 minutes long on its own. So I really appreciate that this band likes to take its time and take you on a musical journey, and it makes their payoffs really powerful when they've spent so much time ratcheting up the tension. If you like bands like Rivers of Nile or Cynic or Blood Incantation, bands that like to get super experimental and fuse some like 70s prog rock, but still deliver some incredible death metal, you should definitely check this one out. Want some insanely unique UK hardcore? The underground Beatdown Hardcore and Metalcore revival band that has a surprisingly huge cult following, Demeanour, but spelled the British way, has finally released their debut EP titled My Own Fate. This band is like World of Pleasure's weird cousin who loves anime. Same. They've got these nasty, visceral breakdowns and slams, where each successive breakdown manages to somehow get heavier than the last, and the vocalist has these incredible barks and growls that just pierce through your soul. I love how surprisingly simple and effective this band can be, while still building such a dark and moody atmosphere. It has that classic 90s, 2000s metalcore approach where the guitars are so overwhelming and in your face, so then the drums and vocals have to be like knife sharp just to cut through the mix. I also found myself really enjoying the like little 8-bit and glitchy elements that they'll add here and there. But more so, I love that when they incorporate them, they don't overproduce or clean up the mix too much. This EP is so gritty and textured, it feels like you can feel it when you're listening to it. Definitely check this one out. It is super easy to see why this band already has a cult following. Need some absurdly brutal new death metal? The grindcore, slam, and brutal death metal crossover band Cordyceps has just released their latest album titled Hell Inside. I seriously can't believe how punishing this album is. The guitars are shredding and chugging non-stop, along with the barrage of double bass that just pummels you into submission. This release is definitely for people who like their death metal as heavy as possible. I was getting a lot of Cryptopsy vibes from this, especially the album that just came out. It has that kind of slow and brutal death metal that even appeals to the deathcore and slam crowds, but is still so incredibly well written and technical that even death metal purists are like, yeah, okay, that rips. I also really love how they incorporate some of these haunting melodic and atmospheric elements, which gives the whole album this just like dark and menacing tone. I couldn't possibly recommend this one enough. Death metal fans, definitely check it out. Who doesn't love New York hardcore? The Syracuse-based hardcore band Deal With God have just released their latest EP titled Hell Without Intermission. If you love that classic New York hardcore sound, but with a really awesome blend of these chuggy death metal riffs and melodic guitar work, you're gonna love this. The sound on this EP is so raw and hard-hitting. The guitars and bass just dominate the mix. So whether they're going for an up-tempo two-step pattern or a halftime breakdown, these guitars are gonna hit you like a dump truck. Unfortunately, this is only a 3-song EP, but it does include a pretty sick cover of Gone for Good by the band Poison Idea. Definitely check this one out if you like bands like Frozen Ground or Missing Link or Pain of Truth. Do you love sludgy, doomy beatdown hardcore? The wildly underrated hardcore band Witherhorde has just released their latest EP titled Words of Corruption. If you love disgustingly heavy hardcore with dark and doomy death metal, bands like the Acacia Strain or a little bit of Black Tongue, you're gonna love this band. This band is genuinely a hidden gem. The riffs and grooves are so bouncy and unique, with even some like swing and triplet flows, and then these mathy and screeching guitars that just slam with these monstrously heavy and stupidly low-tuned breakdowns. This is definitely a band to keep your eyes on. I was beyond blown away by this, and I really, really hope they get on some bigger tours soon, because the only thing holding them back is that no one knows who they are yet. Slam and beatdown hardcore lovers are feasting this year. The deathcore and slam crossover band Severed by Dawn has just released their latest self-titled EP. This band has such a good blend of these beatdown hardcore riffs and chugs, with these really technical, brutal death metal and slam passages that are just dripping with ambiance and, of course, Myspace deathcore. I also really dig the variety that this band is capable of. They never resort to any low-effort guitar work or just stringing breakdowns together back to back. Instead, they carefully craft these really clever and unique riffs, almost seemingly just to show off for the musicians in the crowd, because they still manage to deliver all of the nasty breakdowns you could ever want. This is another up-and-coming band that is very quickly going to be on the main stage. They've been gaining some serious momentum online lately, and it's pretty easy to see why. And here is the full list of all the bands and albums that were released this week, including a lot of the ones that we did not get to cover this week. Man, I'm not kidding when I say this is an insane week for new releases. Delicacy is another slam and brutal death metal project that's really, really good. I genuinely wish I had more time to cover them because I really enjoyed this one. They even had a single that had Sanguishugabog on it, so check that one out. No Shelter has a Swedish death metal meets hardcore vibe, and their newest release was really, really good. Bleeding Through and Chiodos both did remasters and re-recordings of some of their classic albums. Although I have been hearing there's a ton of drama about the Chiodos release, but I haven't really looked into it because they're not really my wheelhouse, especially not for this show. But definitely check out anything on this list that jumps out at you. I could not believe how much good stuff came out this week. So in the spirit of that, let me know if there's anything I missed or that I should have covered this week, and I'll try to cover it next week. Or if you just want to say hi and that you're enjoying the content, let me know in the comments below. It's been really cool talking to everybody, and I don't know, man, thank you guys. You guys have been so nice. So thank you, and I'll catch you next week for next week's metal and hardcore album reviews.